think of them as very long necklaces that can do a lot of different things. They can be flexible, they can be rigid, they can be brushy, they can be soft.
These materials are what some call the first natural plastics. Scientists would search the natural world looking for them, killing tortoises for their shells, elephants for their ivory, stripping wood of its cellulose and using those compounds to make boxes, combs, piano keys and billiard balls. But demand soon started to outstrip supply.
Sometime in the early 1860s or so, a billiard ball company put up an ad offering $10,000 to any inventive genius who could come up with a substitute for ivory.
It was a lot of money, but then this had the potential to be a huge market. As well as billiard balls, ivory was used to make buttons, trays and umbrella handles. So finding a substitute was an exciting proposition.
That ad caught the eye of a printer in New York named John Wesley Hyatt, who thought, okay, I'm up for this challenge, and he started experimenting, looking for something that could replace ivory. And trial and error for a couple of years, and Eureka, one day he finds that he's developed this kind of semi-hard material that was malleable but also pretty sturdy.
He called it celluloid because it contained cellulose, a polymer that's found in plant cells.
It was a pretty phenomenal material.
Men were now wearing celluloid shirt collars, women combing their hair with celluloid combs. It was miraculous stuff. As one of the early promotional brochures for celluloid put it,
it will no longer be necessary to ransack the earth in pursuit of substances which are constantly growing scarcer.
Which is extraordinary hearing that now, because now we think of plastics as something that's doing great harm to the environment, but back then it was seen as a protector.
Exactly. It was seen as a way to not have to hunt elephants into extinction.
But celluloid wasn't perfect. It would explode at random moments.
And that meant that the factories where celluloid were produced were like tinder boxes. Workers often worked stripped to the waist with buckets of water nearby to put out fires. It's actually why celluloid billiard balls never worked, because when they bumped into each other, they let off this report like a shotgun.
Meanwhile, the demand for new materials kept growing. Celluloid, after all, couldn't fulfill all our needs. In the early 20th century, the US was bringing electricity to its cities, and they used a substance called shellac to insulate the wires. Making shellac, though, wasn't easy. First, you had to track down a female lac beetle, found in the forests of India and Thailand. Then you had to wait, patiently, for those beetles to excrete a resin, which could then be turned into shellac. It was painstaking work.
It takes something like 1,000 lac beetles 6 months to produce a pound of shellac.
That's a lot of beetles.
That's a lot of beetles. And you're not going to be able to wire up an entire country on the excretions of little lac beetles.
And that's where the most important scientist in the history of plastics comes in. A Belgian called Leo Baekeland, who emigrated to the US.
So Baekeland built a little lab behind his house overlooking the Hudson River, and eventually came up with this substance that he called Bakelite.
Bakelite was like nothing that had come before it. Unlike celluloid, which contains substances found in nature, Leo Baekeland's invention was made in a lab, fully synthetic. Scientists were now free from the constraints of the natural world. Leo Baekeland became a scientist superstar, appearing on the cover of Time magazine, and soon there were Bakelite ashtrays, fountain pens, telephones and radios. The plastic age had begun.
Part 2. Wartime Boom.
The smell of a factory floor is something you don't forget.
Our second expert witness, Robert Budd. His father had a factory which made machines out of plastic. And when he was 12, he worked there over the summer holidays.
Because little fingers could get into the card sorters. In those days, they had punch cards and they got stuck.